Good morning, everyone. Uh, I'm sure you remember this scene. This is in Ipswich, and I thought today we're snowbound here in Ipswich and everywhere else. I thought it'd be fun to do this painting, and it's very interesting painting. And what I want you to see is that this is the photo I was working from, but we went from this photo to this painting. Okay, so you can see, I called this painting The Passage, and it won a major award with New England Watercolor Society. So I'd like you to ask yourself, what makes an award painting? Why did the judges see this? And I'd love you to comment on it and tell me what you think. What is it about this painting, and why you should add it into your paintings, okay? Okay, so we'll start. I'm wetting the paper here. I'm wetting the sky. And what I'm going to do is just drop some violet. This is ultramarine blue and cadmium red. A little touch of cadmium red to get that violet. And I'm dropping it into that wet sky so that we have really nice, very soft edges all the way through. And it really becomes a winter sky. So what you want to do is put it in there, gradually leave a lot of white spots, and then take a towel, and while it's all wet, shape it into what you want for a winter sky. Sky looking, there it is, and looking above, this scene. All right, so we're going to start up in this right-hand corner. Those very dark trees in the background. Ultramarine and quin sienna. This whole painting is ultramarine, quin sienna, maybe a little bit of cad red, and maybe a drop of rose even, but that's about it. So that alone is interesting, that you want to think about, well, here's a painting that won this award with just a few colors, keeping it very simple. Okay, so I'm working up top there on those trees, very dark, ultramarine and quin sienna. You can get black with it, and that's what you want to do. But you get the black and then push it towards the quinacridone sienna here. It's very warm. The sun is hitting the top of this ridge where these trees are, and where all this grass and foliage is, and it's lighting it up, and it's beautiful. All right, but keep in mind now the horizon is way up there. Okay, and whenever you have a high horizon in a painting, it creates drama. It's above the viewer's eye, so they have to think about, there's a kind of a threat there, All right, this is the shadow coming down the hill, and you want to make sure that when you put the shadow in, that that the direction of that shadow is coming down the hill at that angle. Really important to do that, okay? And there's some Windsor blue. Whenever you paint snow, you want to use several blues. You've heard me say this many times, okay? So we had ultramarine, now we're going to use a little Windsor, maybe a little cobalt. You want to keep that space between the two ridges of grass, trees, bring it down, and we want to eventually get all those edges very soft. So this is a shadow coming down the hill with the snow, and we're going to get it nice and soft. And we're going to lead the viewer right up there. Okay, very important. Very important to keep that. All right, I'm just throwing some, this is a mixture of ultramarine and Windsor blue, and I'm just throwing it on the bottom side of the hill. And eventually, we want to leave a lot of whites in there, and we're also going to have eventually some grass growing up in there. So I didn't want to paint it, I wanted to throw it so we could leave those whites. And it's interesting because when you throw it, you're creating this movement, you're creating this sense of freedom and looseness that's really beautiful in watercolor. People really relate to it, and it's a wonderful thing. All right, we want to keep the blues a little bit heavier, a little bit deeper value in the front. We know that dark and warm comes forward. So this is not warm, it's cool, but it's dark. So the dark comes forward. And it's interesting because the trees in the back are dark and warm, and they should be coming forward, but because of the direction of that path, we're setting it back, pushing it all back, and we want to make sure it stays there. So, all right, we're playing with these shadows. Keep it nice and loose. You can see I'm just throwing some blue down there, and that's the way snow is. You know that it's all bumps and cracks and crevices and bumps, and we want that. But notice that path. The path is everything here. It's leading the viewer right up into that corner, and that's what we want. And it goes all the way around, and they come back down. Okay. Nice. Keep these edges nice and soft. I'm just leaving all this picky work. I'm just placing little bumps and crevices of shadow in the snow. You want to make this your own painting. I'm just showing you a technique that I use, and what I think is important. But this is your painting. When you paint it and you do it, you do what you feel is right here. Very important to get that shadow coming down the hill from the top trees. And we're going to go back and make that very dark on the base of those trees, so it casts that deep shadow. You can see these little touches of dark blue in the front. It's pulling the painting forward, so you want to see that. All right, so there's the soft edges. I'm just going over it with some ultramarine and loosening it up, and I'm just letting it run down. I'm not trying to control it, but you want to keep the base of those trees really dark, because it's not getting any light at all. All right. I have my old sable brush here that's all worn and beaten, but it's wonderful for creating treetops and grass and anything like that. So you want to save any brushes you have that are really good. You want to save those because they really come in handy for different purposes, different techniques. All right, so you can see I'm just throwing more shadow into the snow and softening those edges. But you don't want to lose that path. That path is everything. Okay, the name of the painting is The Passage. So that itself has offers a lot of mystery. Like, where does it go? What passage? When you hear the word passage, you want to look at it and say, where's this going? So that creates interest in your painting, and it's good to know that and think about that when you name in your paintings. Just again, softening the edges on those darks. I want the darks in there, but I don't want any hard edges. I want to show that the light is coming through those bushes. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're almost done here, but I want you to see that. Now what I want to do is I want to get some grass growing out of the snow here. And in a sense, what that does is it not only leads the viewer again on that same passage, on that same path, it ties these rhythm of the painting together. It creates these warm colors. I'm putting some red up there. See that? That's cad red mixed with the quinacridone sienna, and it's giving it a very hot hot spots where the sun is hitting it, and it's wonderful contrast with the cools below it. All right, and then I'm pushing the grass up. You know, it's a fun painting to do. You know, it's nice and loose and juicy, and you don't have to stay in any lines. You know, you create your own. That's why I didn't get into the drawing with you. I wanted you to, you can, you know, put some guidelines down where, especially in the path, you want to save that passage. But other than that, you know, it's just nice and loose and juicy, and it's beautiful contrast with the cool snow and shadows and the warm, deep red grass. It's beautiful, and the dark trees in the back. Okay. So take a small brush, and you can see I'm just going vertical here, up and down, get a bunch of grass in there. Nothing heavy, you know, just a little bit in the front there where again, it's pulling you forward and it's leading the viewer. I'm going back here and creating a little more shadow in the front of that first section of trees, so that comes forward, and it sends the rest back. So, all right. So there's the original painting that I did that won the award, but the same technique and the same process. Thank you so much for joining me. I really love this painting, and I hope you did too. And I will see you again very soon.